Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Blue Abroad Show, the Monday edition, night after the Brownlow. I think everyone's got their hangovers. I'm excited. I'm your host, Terry. I've got Paul Sebastiani Paolo with Monday me. Edition. Hello, mate.
Hello, mate. What's news in the zoo?
I mean, I feel like the last 65, 70 minutes, there's been more news than what there's been over the last week. It's all coming to the top of the top. I think, right now, I believe Clarkson is talking on AFL 360. So for those of you in the audience, you're going to have to fill us in on what he's saying. And this might be a bit of a watch along in itself.
AFL 360 watch along with Blue Abroad in the background. It doesn't get any better.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't, mate. How are you going?
I'm well, mate. Yeah, flat out with work and everything. Like, it's just been. We just recorded the jumper punch, so that'll be going to air tomorrow night. So Rocco and the boys are going to be slaving away getting all that together. So big show coming up, and then next week is an even bigger show. We've got a special guest who I'm sure you know who that is, Terry, but we'll find out potentially next week. So
I look forward to seeing who this special guest is. I'm sure they're going to be put through the ringer.
I think so.
Good evening to everyone who's tuning in right now. Thank you for being with us tonight. I want to start off by a little bit of giving you guys a bit of an announcement. Like yesterday, we had the Brownlow watch along. We had it's been about just under 24 hours since it was posted, and it is already smashing the records on the channel. It's got 20,000 views on the channel. Yeah.
Wow.
Woohoo! Yeah. So I think it was a success. So I'm happy you guys enjoyed it, who watched it at home, and I hope it brought, because I feel like the Brownlow, there's a lot of white noise, as Pom was saying it before we went on last night. There's a lot of white noise in between, but it was good to have something to talk about in between those breaks.
Yeah, I think, you know what, and I think it's a knock on the Brownlow event itself. It's like there's a lot of things that happen in between it that no one really cares about. Well, the footy purist doesn't really care about them. More just worried about the vote count, aren't they, at the end of the day? So, look, I don't mind like the goal of the year and mark of the year being announced in between. And I think the Jim Steins medal is a nice touch as well. But it's the glitz and glam, isn't it, Terry? I mean, that's the event now. It's become all about what you're wearing, you know, who you're with, what you're doing, you know. So, but I guess that's the way the AFL is as an organisation now. But I think I saw a tweet last night actually that the three fastest men in the world. You've got number 3, then you've got Usain Bolt, and then you've got Gil McLachlan when the unassailable leader of the Brownlows announced, and he reads the votes out from round 21 to round 23. So if he could get the pace going like that from the onset, we might be in for a shorter night. But the broadcasters get their ads in, and that brings in the cash. So it's all about, we know, Terry, it's all about the dollars when it comes to these things. So
absolutely, mate. The commercialization of the game is only getting bigger and bigger. Yep. For those of you at home, welcome again. We're going to have a big show tonight. We've got quite a few things to get through. We're also going to be doing the fan cams tonight. So I'm going to put the link in the live comments shortly. So what you'll need to do is hit the link if you want to join us. You can come on, ask a question or whatever's on your mind, and we'll have a little bit of a three-way chat, just like we did last week. I thought it was a really good exercise. But as we always do, we have to start the show the way we always start. So let's roll the intro and go from there.
What's going on? Martin's been very impressive every single time.
They call the Carlton supporters, thank you for the love.
Gates is playing Glasgow. And there's a vantage bar. The ball inside 50. Control! He strikes it beautifully. He's got it.
Sensational. You don't really start the show without that. Now I'm up and about. Below the screen, guys, you'll see the members of the channel. Always want to thank you guys for your support. You will also see Charlotte Wilson and Corey Durden at the top of your screens, and it's really because of the channel memberships that allow such things to happen. So as I mentioned last week, we've gone another year with Corey Durden for 2022, and we've now added Charlotte Wilson to the player sponsorship family. So we're looking forward to welcoming her and watching her go about it. So your names will appear at the bottom of the screen. Paul, you got any thoughts on Charlotte Wilson? Have you watched much of her?
I did actually. She's a very good intercept marker as a defender. Very good defender down at the AFLW level. She's actually, as a defender, I think she's probably one of our most impressive players down back as well. So, look, I mean, she's going to be a stalwart of the back line should they be able to hold on to. I know there's a lot of new teams coming into the AFLW competition, so there'll be opportunities coming up left, right, and centre for a lot of these girls. But her ability to read the ball in the air is second to none at that level. So very impressive player we've got on our hands as a defender down there.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't know if I'm putting you on the spot, but are we a chance to have you in the commentary box for the AFLW season?
Oh, yes, we're working on a few things there, so we'll I'll keep you posted with that. But there's a gambler's chance, Terry. There's a gambler's chance.
That's good enough. That's good enough for me. If we're a chance, then that means we can knock down a door and see if we can get you in there.
Do the people want it?
Correct. Well, I'm sure the hashtag Free Paolo will be getting a run if we don't see you.
I think it will be.
Yeah. Why don't we start with the first item on the agenda, and that is the Brownlow medal, and that is Mr. Sam Walsh. But what do you give me your thoughts, Paul? What were your thoughts on Walsh's night last night? And you guys in the comments, give us some thoughts about what you saw last night with the count and what it means for him and for us.
Yeah, I think early on, I don't think we really expected him to poll as well as he did early in the year. And I think that just proves now that he's going to be a proven vote getter from now till basically the end of his career. So, and he was our best player by an absolute mile all year. So now he's got 4th place in the Brownlow stitched up. He's got 2nd in the AFL MVP, and he's got 1st place in the Jumper Punch MVP as well. So, which one's the more prestigious of the 3? I'd say probably the JP award at the end of the day. But,
that's a tough award, mate. That's a very tough award to get.
Mate, we're harsh markers, mate. We're very harsh markers. So, look, it's going to cap off. He'll end up winning the best and fairest at the club as well, and it'll end up it'll be another feather in his cap, and it's well deserved. But I think he's the type of player that doesn't really care about it, but I think it's the least of his concerns because he's a team player. He's a real leader, and it was nice to see him have a grin on his face. But I think you know what, the underlying thing about it is that we've got, according to the umpires, we've got the 4th best player in the league, and we've got the leading goal kicker in the league and one of the best defenders in the league, and we've still got nothing to show for it as a team.
Yeah, I found myself, I was thinking about it. I was driving today and I was sort of thinking about it, and we get so caught up in how disappointed we were this year and really how disappointing we have been for a while. And you can't just strip it away. But when you imagine stripping it away, you look at the group and you're like, well, there's a serious nucleus of young talent spread across the ground. And I think in years gone by, I mean, if you look at our previous rebuild, Gibbs, Cruiser, Murphy, we had the midfield, guns there, whereas we seem to have one of, if not the best on each line.
Yeah, and I think that's the frustrating thing with us at the moment. I don't think we've had players of this ilk at our football club for a very long time. So, look, I mean, from Walsh's point of view, I think he now, from a statistical point of view, I think he's equaled Judd and Williams as our record vote getters in a single year. I think that's correct. So just so happens to be that he bumped into Bontempelli and Wines and Oliver this year. Any other year he probably finishes 2nd or probably wins it. But I think going back to individual accolades, I don't think he's the type of player that really, he really cares about. He seems. I don't think he really cares about anything like that. I mean, it's great for him, but I think he seems to be a real leader and a team player. And the other thing I took out of it too is that all the players picked up in the same draft as him. I mean, where were they on the list?
Spot on. Yeah, spot on. Well, I want to share with you a video. I'd actually made this video a while back in anticipation of the Brownlow, and I was going to post it last week, but I thought I didn't want to jinx it. Now, we're going to go back to round 1. Now, you and I were on the show in the studio with Shad, And
Yes.
Anyway, I'm going to play this little clip and we'll go from there. So my prediction will be Sam Walsh for now. I think I don't know. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm getting Chris Judd third year vibes from Sam Walsh. I've done a POM.
Oh God. Oh no.
I've done a POM.
Oh no, Terry.
Yeah.
Oh God.
If the second year Blues, if that was his second year Blues, mate, we've got exciting things to come with
Terry.
Yeah, I've gone there.
You have the cap has not been taken off. You've blown the whole bloody jar up.
Mate, it's gone. It's Walshy's league. This is it. This is the year.
Jesus. God help you.
Well,
mate, you got to go out on a limb. I'll tell you what, you haven't got splinters up your ass. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I've got some chutzpah, Yeah. This was mine.
Okay. Here
So
we go.
my one is it's Sam Walsh to win the Brownlow.
God.
But Lockie says Sam
Well, you
Walsh.
did say Judd third year. You
Yes.
did. So okay, mate, you got to connect the dots.
Yep.
Somehow, some way.
Yeah. So Lockie Bright has said Walsh All Australian. I think we're going to see something very special. We're going to see something very special from Sammy Walsh, and I'm pumped for it. I'm ready.
Walsh, here he is. Straightens up and has delivered. Is there nothing this young man can't do?
It was written in the stars. It was all meant to happen.
I was smiling like the Joker throughout that whole video.
I was this close.
I know. As Maxwell Smart said, mate, missed it by that much.
By that much. No, I still think he had it. I mean, to be fair, I think Chris Judd polled 30 votes in the Brownlow in his third year when he won it. So we got that part right. We just didn't quite get the medal. I mean, it was a phenomenal count because so many of the players polled a lot of votes.
Imagine if we actually had won a couple of extra games and maybe got some players in and around to support him. We might actually not be talking about just him winning a Brownlow. We might be actually talking about us in the 8 and in finals. So look, as I said, it's a feather in his cap now, and he looks that type of player that's going to be a real poll getter. In the next couple of years, I think he's a premium A grade midfielder, and he's a ball winning magnet, mate, running machine, and the umpires are going to pick up on that because he's always in clean space and he wins his own football.
No, spot on. I'm excited for what's to come, and you never want to take things for granted. And I mean, provided he stays injury free, you would assume he's just going to keep getting better, and the accolades will keep coming. But I guess the sad reality is round 1 next year, it's a clean slate. Everyone starts from scratch.
Well, that's very true, mate. I did say on Twitter last night as well that I think he's going to be the greatest Carlton player ever.
I'm all for it.
And I actually had Franco as well. He tweeted me on it. He goes, better than Sticks, better than Jezza, better than Dool. I said, yeah, message me in 12 years' time. He could very well be, mate. He could very well be if he keeps trending upwards the way he is at the moment. The sky's the limit.
Yep. No, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. We're going to move on. We're going to talk about Brian Cook. That was the big news of the week. That's probably the biggest news of the year. We're going to get some of your thoughts, Paul, and you guys in the audience, and then I'm going to bring some guests. So for you guys who want to come on and have a chat, I've put the link in the comments. Just hit that, and we've got a few spots here in the waiting room. Paul, what was your reaction to the news of Brian Cook? Yeah,
very, very positive. Look, I mean, he's arguably one of, if not the best sporting administrator in the AFL. So, look, everywhere he goes, his track record suggests that he's a success, really. Went to West Coast Premiership under Mick Malthouse, Geelong Premiership under Bomber Thompson. So, look, and there's no knock on any of the clubs that he's been involved with, really. You look at what West Coast did in the early 90s, and you look at what Geelong have done over the last, 10 to 15 years, really, as a football team. They've won I think they've won 3 flags under Brian Cook as their CEO, and have made finals on countless occasions, really. So, look, positive from that outlook as well. And I think the one thing I really took from him, I'm actually starting to watch, sort of podcasts and listen to the language that he uses. And the one thing that, he's going to bring is standards, Really, that's what he said. And I think scrolling back to, there was an interview he did. I think it may have been at Geelong. He was in the grandstand, and I think he said something along the lines of, you can tell what the culture is at a football club by the team and the team that they select, and the selection integrity of that football club as well. And he also was on a podcast with Paul Roos. I think it was in the middle of last year from memory. And you just, when people speak and you just get this, I don't know if it's an aura, but you just have this sense of confidence that you just know when they walk into a place that it's just going to improve dramatically. So, look, as far as appointments go, I don't think we could get anyone better at the moment.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you. A people person, a proven winner. And I think when you look at, I don't really recall what West Coast was like when he went there, but I'm assuming that would have been early days in there.
Oh, mate, it was an absolute rabble. He was saying, not to that extent, but he was saying that they were, they had basically no money. All the money that they had was spent on basically the licensing fee for the club, players, and paying money back to the AFL, because I think he was saying that West Coast became a shareholder club. So all the money was being paid out that way. They got put out on the public exchange. And he said the one thing that we don't have is we need to get membership sorted. And then in turn, that will lead to a stronger club. So he basically saved West Coast really back in the early 90s and turned them into a brilliant team. And I think the one thing that he spoke about, and one thing that I've made mention of on countless times this year, he said he kept using these two words, competitive edge. And I don't think that's something that our football club has had for a very long time on the field. It's something that he made mention of when he was at his West Coast days, was that the actual players that West Coast recruited, he said that they play WA football too much. When the league actually became one with the VFL and AFL teams around the country, he said he actually picked up that they actually recruited too many West Australian footballers, if that makes sense. They play on those big wide grounds, whereas the Melbourne and a lot of the VFL teams played in the tight confines, and they played more of a contested type of football. So he realised that and implemented that at the club, and that's where West Coast got their competitive edge. So if he can try and nitpick something like that, which he clearly can do, then we've got a gem on our hands. But again, it's not about blowing smoke up his backside. We don't know what's going to happen from here on in. The results will do the speaking. But as far as we're concerned, his results speak for themselves with regards to a CV and what he's achieved in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think you move on to Geelong, and they were struggling as well. I've got a really good friend of mine, Matt, who's the founder of AU Dollars, the hip hop platform, and he was telling me that back in the day, he and his dad, they went to Geelong. They went to, the Cardinia Park, and the members were throwing their hands in their pockets to save the club. And Brian Cook came along. And I think the one thing about him is he's been able to set foundations in place for long-term success. And then when you look at the Carlton Football Club, well, off-field, I mean, I know we don't like talking about it, but off-field, we're good. We're in a really strong position.
Yeah, we seem to be in a good spot. And I think, from a financial perspective, yes, we are. But I think now it's more just about, and I think the reason he has been put at the pinnacle of people to get from an administrative point of view is, I think it's more the, I don't know if they're sort of the intangible things that do become tangible. So I'm talking about values, attitudes. I know that word gets thrown about, but culture. So I think that side of things is where we really need to get. Because people say, we have got the off-field right. To a certain extent, we have, yes, with regards to membership, the AFLW, the finances, the new facilities. But I'm talking about from an attitude and value point of view, that's going to translate to on-field success, if that makes sense. So I think that's what he's going to bring, a real change around values and attitudes and selection integrity, I think, as well, because he's got skin in the game when it comes to what happens on-field as well.
Yeah, the quote that I found a little snippet, he did an interview on Brigands TV a few years ago, and the big thing that I took out of all of what he said was, the quickest way to find out about a culture is look at what they value the most with what they, spend most on. And that's a quick fire way or what they're rewarding the most. So
yes, what I think he was mentioning when it was about team, when I was talking about the teams, I think that was the snippet that I was referring to. Yep. Spot on.
So it's an exciting time. I'm getting some comments here as well. People are saying that Clarko has evidently said, Craig Rudd, he will not be coaching Carlton next year. That's okay. Let's maybe get a guest in and spread the love. We'll get young Kira in. Hello, Kira.
Hey, gents. How are we?
Very, very well, Kira. How are you?
Good, thank you. I just wanted to mention Cook. I listened to the same interview, that podcast that went for an hour, and that was just absolutely extraordinary. And I know there's been a lot of talk, don't get too ahead of ourselves. He hasn't done anything at Carlton yet, which is true, but this isn't just talk. He doesn't go places to fail. He goes there to win. Yeah. And I think that he's exactly what we need. And on that point, the media also said that we weren't going to get him this time last week. So let's all also not get too sucked into mainstream media, because they like to feed us information that, who knows what will happen tomorrow. So, yeah. But Clarko is great.
Kira, I love what you've said there. Let's not get sucked in. See, nice and calm. We're not getting hoodwinked. We're just taking it as it comes.
Don't get hoodwinked, ladies and gentlemen. But look, I think you know what it is. Until these roles are actually signed, sealed, and delivered, and we know who's actually in them. I mean, it's all just hearsay and rumor, isn't it? From our point of view. Yeah.
I remember listening to a podcast. I can't even remember what journalist it was, and they said the problem with mainstream media and click journalism is that if at 9:00 the Herald Sun or any other platform release an article, by 9:01 every other platform would have released the same article without any research, because if they miss the story, then they're worse. So you just need to be careful with what everyone believes.
No, you're spot on with regards to how the media works around online these days and all that. I think it's a case of people trying to get in first rather than being right. So, look, I mean, I think Sam Edmund went today and said that Clarko wouldn't be coach. I mean, his stuff's pretty red hot when it comes to our club. So, look, I shed a tear if Clarko's not our coach. But look, I just praying that the club do their due diligence with all this stuff. Really, I mean, I don't think they have. I don't think they did with Teague. I mean, the talk was that we never went through a proper process with regards to hiring a coach or anything like that. So I just hope that this next appointment is the right one with regards to a head coach.
100%. And I think that's the other thing. Like, I would love Clarko. I wanted him so bad, but if he is out, I have faith in Cook and team, and I really don't care who it is as long as we get success. If this time next year we're playing finals, then we're not going to care what the name is in the head coach position as long as they've got us where we want to be. So I hopefully have faith in that they're actually fixing things this time.
Yeah, finals or premierships?
Premierships.
Better.
Love it. Love it. I think the other thing, Kira, as well, because news came through today, that Cameron Bruce would be departing as well. He was the other assistant coach, which really means the entire coaching panel has now been cleaned out. All right, it seems like Clarko, I'm going to take everyone's word in the comments that he said no. I'm going to believe you all. But I think at the end of the day, when you've got a guy like Brian Cook, and it's not about the Messiah complex, it's about what's proven, and he's proven. And I can't help but feel like there are going to be plenty of people in the industry, senior assistants, head coaches, who would jump at the opportunity to work under someone like a Brian Cook.
Oh, 100%. When you have his CV of what he's succeeded, like, it's proven that he goes places and gets success. So people would be crazy if they didn't genuinely want to work under him. So I think we'll be completely fine. I was drinking Kool-Aid last week. I think I'm a bit more level-headed this week, but we will be okay. Like, they're going to get in the right people. I think we're also going to try and get our tradition and our roots back. I think I'm liking where the current board are going. They're going good places.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think what I'll add to that too is that I think, look, I know that the board and the executive position at our club have been a hot topic over the last sort of couple of months too. But I think the one thing I've taken away from it is I know, look, the 4 positions that came up were obviously had to be filled because they were coming off. But I think they've actually gone down the path of getting people in that they actually need, if that makes sense. So you look at the CV of the people. This is not to blow smoke up their backside, but we've got a proper media communications person in, which we the club has been, I don't know about you, Terry, but I think the club have been archaic in the way that they've communicated to their fans over the last 10 to 15 years. I'm sure you're probably in that same realm as well, Kira, but they've got a proper media communications professional on there. They've got an analytics guy. So maybe they've been listening to Pommy. Maybe they've been listening to Pommy with regards to all that. So, and they've also got now a head of football who has a proper vested interest in the football club. It's a paid role with Greg Williams, and we just pray to God that these guys coming in now are going to set the standard, because it's not been good enough, really.
100%, and I think that's where my faith lies in Diesel. I know we mentioned it last week on the Blue Broad show, but he's a fan. Like, he loves the club. He speaks like us. He wants us to succeed. His post last night about Walshy on Instagram was like I was looking at a fan's Instagram. Like, he's a genuine supporter. Yeah, like you and I. So he'll be great.
Yeah, well, you want people in your club that genuinely cares as much as we do, and you can't always make decisions based off sentiment too. But he doesn't. He looks, and we know from his playing days, Terry, as well. I mean, we obviously didn't have the privilege to watch him live, but ruthless and standard setter is exactly what he was, and it's exactly what we need at this club. And look, I know most coaches have said it before, but I think it to be true when he says. Like, he actually chuckled and laughed when he said, he goes, like, the standards are going to go up big time when I get my hands on them.
I think the other thing I'm excited about, and I could be wrong here, but I'm picturing Diesel to be he's a board member, but I picture him, being at the footy club whenever he's there and going out on the field with the Carlton hoodie on. And, you see there's photos out there of him when he was working with Liam Stocker and Harry Mackay on where to position their hands. I would imagine that still happens, and that there's something in that. When a club great who's a board member is now on the field, shorts on, sleeves rolled up, willing to put in the work. Yeah,
it's a hands-on approach. I think it just brings back the humility to a lot of these people, which I think it's been lacked. But it's a big area that I think the club really needs to continue to improve on as well, and just the board, the way they communicate with us, with us three, with the whole channel, with their membership base, and and I know we keep harping on about it too, but the fact that they actually sent out a video message, or have sent out video messages to members for the first time the first time ever, really, like they've actually addressed us by face.
It was great.
Yeah. No, it was.
You can see, because you could see it in Diesel's eyes. It's so much more than the words on the email or the words coming out of the mouth. It's the body positioning, the gestures, and you could see it in his eyes. He wants success, and he's going to make the standards go up. So, video. Thank the Lord. Yeah,
exactly. But again, at the end of the day,
it doesn't matter unless we
the results will do the talking for them. Enough talking. Now it's time for action, because I can tell you, if by round 12 they're 4-8 again, oh boy,
oh my God,
yeah.
One other quick thing, Andrew Russell, everyone has been a bit divided on him this year. He still hasn't got the axe. His clearly looks like he's staying. And Liam Stocker also said on his live that he wouldn't be the player without Andrew Russell, and he owes it to him. So I think that was also interesting that we've stuck by him.
Yes, very, very intriguing. He's come under heat too, and I think rightfully so this year as well. So look, I mean, if the club have made it, well, they've said that all positions are finalised from their point of view. So I know Cameron Bruce left today, but I think that sort of more looked like on his own accord, if that makes sense. He sort of had that opportunity up in Brisbane, but everyone needs to get better. Everyone.
Yeah. If everyone improves by a little percent, the whole club will improve by a lot.
Spot on, Kira. Spot on. Exactly right.
Bang on. Well said, Kira.
Awesome.
Very well said. Thanks for coming on.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
See you, legend. Let's get one more in now. Ashan.
Oh, hi.
How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How about you guys?
Yeah, we're good. We're good. Good to see you again. It's been a while.
Yeah, true.
What have you got on the agenda, mate? What are you bringing to us? What have you got for us?
Yeah, I've been pretty happy with who we've brought in so far, even though the trade period hasn't started. What I've noticed now is it's not just the 22 on the field or 18 and 4 on the bench that make up the team every week. It's everyone within the footy club. Like, I think Brian Cook, he'll hopefully do really well for us. I think Greg Williams, he's got that hard edge that we also need in our coach. And with Greg Williams, all the blokes that are just going out there don't really care too much, don't represent their Guernsey and put their heart and soul into it. They're going to cop it from day one. Like, I don't know, he might make Zach Fisher shave the mullet if he puts in a poor performance. Yeah, that would be funny, but yeah.
No, it's an interesting one. Look, at the end of the day, of course, the players care. I think there's no question about I do it all, as well throughout the year. We get angry, and I've said things like, "Oh, they don't care enough," or they don't, and maybe that's true in moments. They definitely do care. They definitely do want to get better, and they do want to win games of footy. I don't think anyone wants to go out there and lose. But the reality is, whatever environment that they've been in over the last, few years just hasn't been good enough. So I think there's something to be said for what you just mentioned. If there's something little that needs to be picked up on, it looks like we're going to be putting the best people available in each role to pick those little things up better than what we have had.
Yeah. And another thing I'm excited about is potentially Matthew Scarlett coming in as our backline coach or something. I think that will really help, because if you look at Geelong's backline, I don't think there's a lot of top picks in the draft there. There's Zach Tui, who was from us, but international recruit. Tom Stewart, mature age recruit. Tom Atkins, I don't think he was a high pick. Lockie Henderson just got delisted. He's terrible, but yeah. He's in the team again as a key defender, which is pretty good. Mark Blickovs, I think he's been All-Australian. I can't remember him being a high pick, although he may have. I think that's really good because he's made a backline with not all those picks like we have excel. What can he do with potentially the best backline on paper in the AFL that's not functioning at all right now?
It's a good point, Sean, and I think it comes down to you speak about how they're not all high picks, but I think that comes down to one of the biggest bugbears of our football club over the last maybe 10 to 15 years, even longer, and it's development. Are we actually getting the right people in these coaching roles? Are we actually getting the right people, into the development roles at our football club? And you could argue not, clearly, because of what we've seen over the last couple of years, and we've seen a lot of plateauing from a lot of our younger players over the last, probably year and a half, or since sort of Teague has come in. We saw a lot of players peak and then sort of come back down again. So maybe someone like Scarlett, who knows what it's all about, can come in and do it. I don't know about you two boys, but did you really get any sense of oh, geez, look at these assistant coaches we've got on board at the moment. Geez, these guys are really going to set the standard, and clearly not, because, look what's happened. They've all been cleared out.
Yeah, I didn't really notice anything about the assistants, if they were good or not, until last year. I came on here after I was absolutely devastated after we lost to the Crows. And half the people on here were saying, assistants, Brett Stanton's useless, John Barker is useless. He's coached 10 games, and one of them's the biggest loss in our history on Mark Murphy's 200th, all that stuff. Then I realised, we probably need to fix people behind the scenes. That's what Richmond's done. That's what Melbourne's done. Now look at them.
Yeah, and it goes back to as well, because I think, there were, I don't know if there were rumours, but I think that it's been sort of confirmed that at the end of last year, I think Teague was asked if he wanted to change assistant coaches, and he said no. He goes, I want to back my boys in, and you live by the sword and you die by the sword. You kind of reap what you sow with regards to all that. So look, clearly these coaches have not. They've not been good enough with regards to the standards they set, because you see it out on the field every week. You don't have to be inside the four walls of the football club every week, lads. We just see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I think also when you talk about the assistant coaching panel. I mean, I remember doing a podcast before we were doing video for Blue Abroad. I did it with Mark and Alex, and we went through in 2019. We went through the panels of Geelong, Richmond, Hawthorn, who were playing some good footy at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, Luke Power coming in was obviously one that had something behind him, and we're all really excited. And we've obviously had him on the channel, and he's spoken, and we've got that direct feedback from him. But I mean, at the moment, Matthew Scarlett's just a pipe dream, but someone like that, I picture. I mean, can you imagine, Jacob Wiedering learning off a Matthew Scarlett? I mean, again, it's not confirmed, but the idea of it is exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah,
I think you understand it too, because it's a. I mean, you want premierships. I mean, you've got to have. I still believe you need to have blokes in there that have been there and done it and understand what it's all about.
I don't think we've got a bloke that's won a flag. Not one bloke who's going to be on our list. Oh, no, we've got Ed Curnow. That's won a final with our club. But even him, I think he was a role player back in 2013 or something. Yeah. And another one is, with our new coach, it's not what they can get out of Walsh, Wiedering, Mackay. Any coach, I reckon, could get Mackay a Coleman at some point. Walsh multiple Brownlows, and Wiedering an All-Australian selection. It's what he can do with all the players that are on the fringes of their career or at the crossroads where maybe they can be good. They've got potential, haven't fulfilled it. Like, say, Sam Petrevski-Seaton, Paddy Dow.
Spot on.
Be all of those blokes, which is going to make or break a coach, I reckon.
Absolutely. Who do you think the coach should be? That's the question. Who have you got your crosshairs set on?
Oh, I don't know, because I've got really no idea. I was thinking Ross Lyon would be good, but I don't know. I think maybe Michael Voss. I can't remember much of him in like 2009 or 2013, but I remember Brisbane were sort of floating around that very bad to like mediocre range a lot of those years. I think maybe their list was a bit old because there are some big names on paper in that team looking at it. And I think he went 43, 1 draw and 65 losses or something like that. So that's similar to Teague's record, but it might be with a different team. And he's had, 8 years in between that point and, I don't know, like his last coaching gig, which he's learnt under coaches such as Ken Hinckley, which I think are really good, like hard coaches. Like I remember hearing once on like some AFL thing from Kane Corns that after Matt Primus got sacked or something, Ken Hinckley or someone made them stand in like the ocean at 5 a.m. with nothing on. I think he's good. He can learn from that with the hard edge. So I think it's right now in their development that they're going to need someone to absolutely push them.
Yeah. No, I wholeheartedly agree with you on that. I don't know if it's going to be Michael Voss. Look, I'm not 100% sold on the coach who's tried at one club and has failed there and then tries to come back and do it. I don't think there's any real evidence to suggest that has worked over the last 30 to 35 years. I think Malcolm Blight might be the only coach to have done that. But look, I'm happy for them to go the untried, to be honest. It doesn't really bother me. I mean, someone with a vision, someone with a plan, someone who's going to motivate these boys, someone who's got tactical now, someone who's going to come in and provide the competitive edge that Brian Cook spoke about.
Yeah, and in a way, I'm kind of glad that Clarko's decided to be unavailable because what we've asked him like 4 or 5 times. Do you want to coach? Do you want to coach? It's like going to the gym or going for a run, saying you want to run 3 minutes at, say, 3:45 per kilometre with 1 minute's rest in between. That's like him going, he's coached like 15, 16 years in a row. It's like him going like that. He wants a little break, but instead making him push on for another bit. Sometimes it's not possible for him. Maybe he needs a rest beforehand, I think. Yeah.
Well, I've got a little quote that I found here. There's a Twitter account which is quickly rising. It's Up the Baggers. Basically, the account aggregates. And just have a look at this quote about Michael Voss from Ollie Wines. It says, I don't think I've met a person more motivating than Vossi. He's run our resilience and leadership program over the last 12 to 18 months. and what he's done with our group and the connection and trust he's built within that playing group is enormous. And obviously, you're going to get positive quotes from players that have worked with him. I've had a very brief exchange with Michael Voss. It's so random. It was in Shanghai, and when I was doing some voluntary work with Port Adelaide there, and I was just basically walking around with Port Adelaide and just on the sidelines, and I was just there if they needed me, right? And I'll never forget, this was Rosie, Dersma, and Butters' first year. And I'll never forget, they had done their training session, and the three of them had stayed back to do this particular drill with Voss. And I never forget watching them watch Michael Voss teach them. And we can talk about what happened at Brisbane, and it didn't work out the way, it doesn't look as successful to some people, but make no mistake, it's Michael Voss. That's one of the greatest captains of the modern era. He's 3-time premiership captain, tough. And I just look at Michael Voss as someone who Patrick Cripps will really thrive under.
Yeah, I think so.
Hope you're right. If he is the man. If he is the man. We don't know.
We'll have to wait and see. So, Sean, love it, mate. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
You, mate. All right. What's next on the agenda? Let's talk quickly about the 2022 membership. So today it was released. I'm not sure if you got your letter in the mail, Paul, but
not yet. No.
I'll give you a bit of a rundown of what's going down, because there was quite a bit of unrest last year or in the year before with membership pins and the way that the membership packs
pins.
were.
Not the pins again, Terry. Oh God. Oh no.
So the club, I'm reading off their website, the club has made some exciting changes to its membership offering going into next season, taking on board the feedback of its members throughout the season 2021. Member packs will now be delivered faster from Melbourne, not overseas, with members given the ability to build their own package from a bigger and better member choice range over 20 items. The majority of the 2022 packages include a core pack along with a voucher code ranging from $25 to $50 in value that members can use. This was interesting because I remember getting this pencil case this year, and I was like, wow, come on now. And then you look at, maybe it's petty and I shouldn't look at other clubs, but you look at the Collingwood membership pack. It was this box, beautifully designed, and it was like an experience as you opened it, and I get jealous. I want the best in everything for the club.
Well, how much do they value us determines by what they actually give us.
Yeah, it's the little things, but they how you do one thing is, what's that saying? How you do one thing is how you do everything.
I think Luke Sayers made it quite clear is that the best and most elite organisations, football clubs and businesses around the world do the simple things right all the time.
Yep. No, spot on.
Yeah.
I thought I would bring that. I'm going to get another one of our fan favourites in, Mr. Beach.
Oh, Beachy. Hello, Beach.
How are we?
Very, very well, mate. Very well. We're in a steam company now. Not that we weren't before, but...
Steady on.
What's on your mind, mate?
Royalty, mate. Government royalty. Quick question. I recently found out about George Stewart to Carlton. What do you reckon, boys?
Yeah, mate. What we need. I mean, Pommy and I did the investigative journalism or the research documentary that we put together in part 2 as to exactly what the club needs with regards to the that AFL God print that Pommy came up with. And look, he's a tough, robust midfielder and comes from good stock, which is exactly what we need in our midfield. I think the more midfielders we can get in at the moment, the better, because we actually have, I think from memory, I think we're like bottom 2 or bottom 3 for the amount of players we rotate through the midfield. And again, it's if price is right, really, and I think he fits the bill perfectly. Perfect Ed Curnow replacement.
Yeah, I think.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think I might add to that as well. I saw today there's an Instagram account, a very, very good Instagram account. For those, if you don't follow, it's called blues.afl, and that they actually went with it today. And he usually puts a source with his news. He usually just aggregates the news and puts it up. But it seems like it's a done deal. I did some quick research before we went on, and it looks like it is still just reported, and it was John Ralph that's been hot on it. It's been reported that it's a 4-year, $450,000 a year type deal. Now, is it bang on, we don't know yet. It's not 100% confirmed, but it looks likely. But for me, this is potentially a great bit of business. Sydney have got their own issues with what's going on with their players and salary cap and, a midfield spot for George Hewitt. We need someone just like him. We don't need to spend big money. I think we've spoken about it on the show for a few weeks now. We just need good quality soldiers. I think this guy, you look at his final against the Giants this year. I think he had like 13 tackles, and this is exactly the type of player that we need. Now, does this mean someone like a Setterfield or a Kennedy or, Ed Kerno as well and these guys, is it good for depth, or does it mean one gets squeezed out? Like, how do you see it?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I think someone might have to get squeezed out, I'm afraid. Then again, I was crunching the disposal numbers for his average from his purple patch in round 15. He was averaging 22.2 disposals a game from round 15. Now, he's someone that can get you the ball. And if he's not getting the ball, as you say, Terry, he's laying the tackles, which, Paolo, that's what you're saying. We need someone like that.
Yeah, I think it's been a big issue with our club, especially this year. I think, people are saying, oh, geez, where's the tackle? Where are the tackles? Where's the tackle effort? And I think as well, he's what we lack in, and two of the biggest areas we lack in as a football club is midfield tackles and tackles inside forward 50. So, your midfielders are naturally going to roll up inside forward 50 as the stoppages do occur. So I think he's going to add to that facet of the game that we desperately lack in. So, and I think a player like him, and Pommy and I have been hot on this, I don't think the club have really moneyballed enough over the last couple of years. We've gone out and got the flashy players that, we don't really, not that we don't really need, but they don't really fit an area of the club that we're really lacking in, if that makes sense. So I think a player like him is going to free up Dow, SPS, and those type of midfielders who, like SPS, people undersell his grunt work. Like, he actually tackles, and he's a courageous player. Like, it's an undersold asset of his game. So I think it can free him up a little bit more, and I think it can free Dow up, because Dow is known for his ability to burst away from stoppage. And if Hewitt is that bigger body in there and can protect and shield and create pockets of space in that midfield, I think that's something that we can utilise big time. Someone even like a Luke Dunstan, who I think is out of contract with St Kilda as well. And I know we've been big on, Pommy and I have been big on stop getting recruits from other clubs as well. And I understand, like, that I'm big on. But at the same time, if you are going to go out and get recruits from other clubs, it's got to be an area of concern that you actually need, rather than just the flashy name in lights.
Yeah. Good call.
I picture someone like a George Hewitt. If he's not in our best 22, he's in our best 24.
Yeah. Spot on. No, I think I don't want to say walks into that midfield, but I think he brings in something that we desperately lack in that midfield as well, and he'll provide a little bit of coverage for those blokes who may not be, the two-way runners, so to speak, or who may not have the greatest defensive aspect to their game, maybe a Dow or an SPS who roam through the midfield, and that's probably the reason why they haven't been able to get consistent midfield minutes. It's the ability to cover the ground and run back defensively too.
Yep, no, bang on. Anything else on your mind, Beachy?
No, I think so. I think that's pretty much it. You've spoken about Voss. We think he might land a job. Clarko's pretty much ruled himself out. I think we now just play the waiting game and see what happens as the cards fall.
Yep.
Well said, mate. You have a good night.
Thank you, boys. Catch you later.
Yes, BT. Thanks, mate.
Young Dimmy.
Yo, sup?
How are you, mate?
I'm pretty good. Bit tired, but
you've been tired. What's on your mind, mate? What are you thinking about at the moment with the Carlton Football Club?
Mainly just the pre-season,
Okay.
Ooh, I like it. He's getting hot into it early.
Very good. You're ready to go. I like it. Looking ahead.
Yeah. On my mind, it's just the trade period. Who we're going to bring in as coach. I'm not really focused on next season at the moment. Like, the pre-season, that's more important to me right now. But yeah. Next season, how many months away? 5, 6?
Well, I want to ask you, Dimmy, what if you had to pick the one thing that we need to get better at for next year, what do you think?
The pressure.
Yeah?
From what I saw this season is that the boys don't have enough of it. Yeah, it's really annoying to watch. So
yeah, it was, mate. It was. I'm sure you followed the journey along, and I've seen you on TikTok as well, getting a little angry as well after we lose games. Don't worry, I see you, young man.
yeah.
Who do you think from a player point of view? Who do you think we should? Who should we be targeting?
Obviously,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I think we should target him, but I'm not really sure. But yeah.
What about a coach? Who do you want to coach us? That's been the big question, hasn't it?
Well, obviously, as most Carlton fans, I want Clarko, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
We just have to settle for whoever we get.
Have to have faith. Have to have faith that they're putting the right pieces in, don't we?
Spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Love your work, Dimmy. Good on ya.
All right. Peace.
See ya.
Good man, Dimmy.
Zach.
Hello.
Hello, mate.
Zach, hello, mate.
Hello.
What's on your mind?
The Hewitt signing.
Yes.
And what it means, I think he's going to be a role player because look, you can't rely on a Walsh or a Cripps to win your games anymore. You have to have role players around them. Like if you look at Melbourne, for example, they have Gawn, Petrarca, Oliver, but they also have guys like Neil Bullen, Langdon, Viney, who, you know, they're not exactly going to be 10 out of 10, but they do the job every week, and that really helps Melbourne to be better than most teams in the AFL.
I like that. Because I think now this is an area that I think struggle with a lot, is that we don't have, and I think Eddie Betts made mention of this. It may have been on the tribute we did to him when he came on. He said that Carlton at the moment, from a list point of view, actually have a much more talented list than what he actually had when he was playing with Adelaide when they made their grand final. But what he said was that the role players that they had on their list were far better than what Carlton had. Like everybody knew exactly what they had to do when they stepped out onto the football field. And I think we really lack that in our midfield as well. I don't think we have guys in there that are able to sort of mitigate our deficiencies or really bring up areas of the game that we struggle with, which in turn will lead to the strengths of those players like, you know, Walsh, Dow, Cripps, you know, those sort of players that have that star factor, that are able to utilise that star factor on a more consistent basis with, you know, I think that's what you'll get with guys like Hewitt coming into the side. How many teams, boys, have, you know, 8, 9, 10, 11 A grade? It doesn't work that way. You're not going to have those players out there. You've got to have guys who are going to bring the strengths of their teammates into the fore, but also mitigate their weaknesses as well. And I don't think we have enough of that. And I think a guy like Hewitt and the role players you speak of are going to be an integral part to us going forward.
Do you think that's got something to do with the fact that we've got so many high draft picks and they come into the system highly rated as offensive players, and particularly in that midfield, if you reel off the names, you know, Dow, Petrevski, Seaton, Setterfield, these are all high draft picks who are probably more, I guess, appreciated because of what they can do offensively. I'm sure that they do work hard defensively, but I look at a guy like George Hewitt as exactly that. I mean, Dow, we know what's his number one strength. It's that step through, it's offense. Setterfield, I look at him as his strengths are his ability to, you know, get a handball out in traffic and move the ball forward. Petrevski, Seaton, I think his strengths lie more as an offensive threat than a defensive threat. Whereas with Hewitt, I look at him and I see a very well-rounded player, disciplined player.
Yeah, exactly. And if you look at the Brownlow count, for example, like Walsh got 30 odd. The next best was I think it was somewhere near 10. So if we can sort of bring the gap a little bit closer, we can have a more consistent squad, and, you know, we can be more consistent on game day, which is perfect for us.
Well, how do you have the three best players in the league in their spots, basically, Walsh, Mackay and Wiedering, and we're still miles outside the 8. You know, we don't have enough of those grunt players, really. I don't think we have enough of them.
I know. It's about putting it all together. We get a coach, we get guys who can really bring this team together to make it gel, like some of the teams in the top 8.
And I think, look, this is my area as well, is that, you know, people go, oh, you know, but Sam Petrevski-Seaton doesn't defend, or Adam Saad doesn't defend, or Dowd doesn't defend, or they're not two-way runners. Okay, all right. Well, what are their strengths then? Okay, well, these are their strengths: the forward running, ability to break the lines. Okay, great, no problems. What are you putting in behind them to mitigate their deficiencies? We don't have that. It's like, well, okay, well, if Saad can't defend, which he actually can, if Sam Petrevski-Seton can't run back, if Paddy Dow can't run back, well, we just get rid of it all. I mean, and the example that I use, and Pommy and I always use, is look at David Beckham at Manchester United. Like, as a midfielder, mate, he had no engine, but he had Gary Neville behind him, backing him up, saying, David, when you go forward, mate, I've got your back. It's like when we go forward, if Dow goes forward or one of our midfielders push forward, one of those talented midfielders push forward with ball in hand, it's like, well, you go do that, but we're going to back you up. We don't have enough of that. I think that's something that Hewitt is going to bring into the team.
Exactly. And that's the whole thing with having a system as well. If one person goes forward, you can rely on people behind who are just as good.
Well, isn't that what a team is? That's what it is. That's why you got 18 to 22 players on a park.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the whole
Spot
point,
on.
really.
What else, Zach? Anything else on your mind?
Hidden Gems of the Year will be out very soon.
Fantastic.
By the way,
for those who aren't aware, Zach, another one of our up-and-coming stars who writes for the website. So Hidden Gems, I'm really tempted to ask for you to reveal, but we might keep it a secret.
All right. We'll keep it a secret.
They're hidden for a reason for now.
Exactly.
Correct. Love it, Zach. Good on you, mate. You have a good night.
You too. See ya.
Thanks, Zach. Cheers, mate.
I got one more who might join us for a little while. Speaking of,
There he is.
had to get him on.
How are we doing tomorrow?
Pom, I mean, I'm assuming, I'm believing everyone in the comments. Clarko said no. How are you feeling? What's
he
going
said
on?
no. He was humble, to be fair, and by the sounds of it, we had a red hot crack. I had a great conversation with the great Lack Dog this afternoon. He was getting worked up, wanting it to be Clarkson, and like I said, we have to learn a lesson as a football club. Mo House did it for all the wrong reasons. If he's that adamant to spend time with your wife as a married man, if he comes in and does it half-assed, it's probably more detrimental to the club if it suddenly becomes a money thing. And we've got to get this one right. So it's a great name. It would have been a great dream. I would have probably flopped it out for Clarkson live on cam. But unfortunately, it's not to be. So, I mean, that's it. We move on. I mean, that's what we do at Carlton Football Club, isn't it? We move on.
Yeah, 100%. I think it was always a bit of a hope, and I think you hit the nail on the head. If the one consistent message throughout with him has been about the break and wanting to travel or whatever else he wanted to do outside of football. So we really needed to, convince him. And if you're trying to convince someone to go against what they really truly desire within them, you're not going to get them, dealing with you with all of their heart. So better for him to be honest right now. Yeah, it might be a bit of short-term pain, but would you not rather the honesty?
Oh, mate, I mean, the last thing you want to do, is take a punt on him because of his name and him kind of be swayed by it. So, I mean, it's sad, but, I mean, we move on. Fuck Clarkson. He's a melt. Never liked him anyway.
I love it, mate. I've got a couple that I want to bring up while we're all here. There's a few more items. It's we had a few contract extensions. Now, Brody Kemp was a 2-year deal. Mark Pitternet, 2-year extension. Nick Newman, 2 years. I think that was it.
Jack
what did you
Silvani?
think?
No. Has Jack Silvani been announced? No.
I think
Jack
Silvani.
It's going to be the worst kept secret in football, though.
It is the worst kept secret
and again,
in football.
Clarkson was the worst kept secret in football, and that backfired. Just quietly, though, what a melt. He turned up in a navy blue shirt. Like he walked on in his navy blue shirt, and I'm there like this. I'm ringing the family lawyer to ask if I can get custody of the kids because I was like, I'll just file Zoe the divorce papers now because I need to be single for when we win a flag. Like, what a melt.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Clarko.
New signings. We lost an assistant coach. I want to also bring up a name who I saw on the Adelaide Now website. Apparently, it's been reported that Port Adelaide have told Peter Ladhams and they've encouraged him to explore his options. Now, this is a name that's come up with us for months because we didn't replace Cruiser on the list when we lost him. We've got Tom, we've got TDK, and we've been using Casbolt. I think the Casbolt role is still a very crucial role to have on the list. And I'm thinking straight away, if Ladhams is potentially available, you absolutely jump on that. Not as a star signing, but I think you can get a pretty good deal for him. And I think he could play round one. He's good enough to play.
Oh, yeah, I think if you look at Peter Ladhams as well, if you play him on the same park as Pitternet, the guy turns into fucking Brody Grundy, isn't he? So, I mean, do you remember that? The famous Port preview, you and me? And I was like, Ladhams is Mickey Mouse, mate. Pitternet will batter him. And 42 hit-outs later and 30 touches, and Ladhams gets 3 Brownlow votes.
I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it.
It's not like Carlton put a player on the map, is it?
Nah. No, I just think it's a very interesting one. I think it's a role we've got to fill on the list. I know Murkov is there. I don't know what's going to happen with him, but that's a real long shot project. I think you need 3 bona fide ruckmen that could all play at one point.
Well, we mentioned this, Pommy, on our PPI, didn't we? The ruck was an area that we were looking at, and I think Ladhams and English was sort of the 2 names that we came up with too. And Ladhams is not. I mean, you're not giving up a hell of a lot in your TPP to get a player like that over, because Port have obviously said, look, go assess your options. We don't really. It's not really a loss for us if we lose you, and he's clearly someone that we need. Get that into your head.
Yeah. I think also, I mean, you look at them, they've got Georgiades, who's coming along nicely, Todd Marshall. They're going to have to fit him in with Charlie Dixon. I mean, Scott Lysette is a really solid ruckman, and I still think he's got plenty to offer. And they're really, I know that they got belted in the prelim, but they're in their premiership window. So it's probably, they're looking at it for the next 2 to 3 years, I would think. They probably think they're right up there. So these are the opportunities I think we should be looking at. And all of a sudden, I'm thinking, what if we have an off-season where it's Hewitt, Ladhams, keep pick 6, and then reinvest in Sam Walsh or get the contracts right now?
Well, that's what I'll be doing. Just watch part 2 of PPI, ladies and gentlemen, and you'll see that pick 6 for Chera is probably over the odds, I would say. But it's not the fact that I don't want a player like that. I think we do need more midfielders in there because we lack the rotations in there. But it's got to be at the right price. It's got to be at the right price. And I just think we get so worked up in, Chera, just give up the pick for him. Just give it up. Just give it up. Who cares? Don't worry. He was a pick 6. We'll just give pick 6 for him anyway. Don't worry about it. I mean, how many votes did Chera and Dow end up on last night? I know it's not the greatest gauge, but just someone remind me. Was it 1 vote each?
It was 3 votes for Chera.
3. So 3-1, and we want to pay what? 700K a year for a bloke who would not even be. Would he honestly be in the top 30 midfielders in the league?
Paolo's done it, hasn't he? He's used the BNF as a measurement. Trying to offend Pom after all the times I've said, don't talk about BNFs.
No, would he actually? No, forget the BNF, right? Would he actually be in the? I mean, would he be in the top 30 midfielders in the league?
No. I don't know. You could maybe make an argument to wedge him. He's definitely not in the top 20.
Yeah.
So, look, if we get him...
talking about mids, good segue. I made something for you both while I was watching you because I love you both.
What have you got, mate?
What have you got?
Ta-da!
Oh.
Okay. All right.
So this here at the top graph is 2018's Melbourne pre-Choco. And below it is Carlton at the moment. So you can see some real big similarities. We've got clearances to advantage on the left. We've got midfield turnovers resulting in scoring shots. Melbourne 4th worst in 2018, us 6th worst. Combined midfield numbers, so that's all the key metrics that the AFL use to give a rating. We were 15th, they were 15th. Tackles in the midfield, 17th and 17th. Tackles total in the comp, 18th to 16th. So what I wanted to talk about here is I thought it leads us into assistant coaches, and it also leads us into Voss as well. So one thing I wanted to do about Michael Voss is he was accredited by Hinckley himself last year in their structural change in 2019. In 2018, he was elevated to senior assistant and was charged with development one, number two, in structure and tactics. And one of the things he changed, and the biggest change, is their average possession went down by 4.8 meters in the midfield, and their tackles increased by about 1.98 a game in the midfield, which is huge. Which links me to Carlton. If you do them numbers, you are very, very similar. I'm not saying it's going to happen because I don't want to build people. Oh, fuck it. It's going to happen. If it happens, we are Melbourne. We are Melbourne. That's how simple it is. So back to that PPI video we talked about. We're talking percentages that make you 13th to 4th to 13th to 18th. And they're the kind of things we've got to look at. So for me, I want to put this question to you guys and the audience. Do you think maybe in the long term this could be a good thing? Because the soft cap does take into account the salary of the head coach. Now, obviously, we've saved a shitload of brass on the paper bag for Mr. Clarkson. Voss is going to be a bit cheaper. Maybe it means we can build a system like Melbourne. When you look at Melbourne, they've just got quality line coaches. They haven't got a superstar. They've just got quality across the lines. Would you think the same, that if Carlton can do that, knowing the history suggests 1%ers will change your game? Do you think this might be actually a blessing in disguise looking forward to next year?
It could very well be, Pommy. It could very well be. I mean, look, as I said, with regards to the evidence of coaches being at a previous club and not doing well and then coming back and winning a flag, it doesn't really happen too often. But look, I mean, if the club make the decision and make the call that he's the man, well, we back it in. We back it in 100%.
Yeah, I can imagine, whether you are believing in what's going on or not, there's going to be a lot more just confidence and closure once we know what the panel is, once we know who the head coach is, once we know who the assistants are, because then we're going to be, told a message. And then we're going to have something that we can then rely on in the off season to judge everything against. If it's Voss, I mean, obviously, 4 days ago it was Don Pike, Gian Siracusa, they all pop up. I'm really excited to get the closure. I don't want to rush it. I'm past the stage of rushing it and getting sucked in every day to who's the hot name. But whoever it is, whichever panel we do get, I think I'm just excited for that closure.
Oh, I'm with you, Tez. I just think, looking at it, I've done a lot of research on Voss in the last couple of days, seeing he's been the hot tip. And they're the kind of big takeaways I've got from Port, speaking to Port guys. I've got to say, I hate to say it, Port's fans, shout out to you because you guys are really accommodating as well. So quite often when I go and do the rogue, tell me about your coach, I get F off, you pommy, CUNT. So it was quite nice to actually get some constructive feedback as opposed to it. But I'm really excited by that avenue that they were telling me that their development in their midfield was the huge thing they saw, that they were, one of the guys used the phrase that they felt a bit like Carlton, that they'd get these midfielders in and the guys were shit and they'd have to go and buy some. So it felt quite good to know that our biggest issue when you look at our breakdown of stats is in that midfield. It's the breakdown from the contest, the fall away at the ball, the working it out in the contest itself, and especially the way we use the ball in the middle of the park. I think Hewitt instantly brings you that tackle pressure, which he's infectious when you see him play. So I think that'll help him. But I think if you look at the Port brand, and let's just say he's credited with 50% of what Port are doing, let's just say 50, 20%. Port's offensive numbers are very similar to Carlton under Teague. And I don't think anyone would argue going forward with the ball, we're all right. It's finishing it off and stopping it when we turn it over. So if he can iron out that spread in the midfield, I'd say that, I feel a bit confident. I feel confident. We know me and Terry have been on the Voss train for a while, haven't we? So I'm kind of excited. Get him in. Get the assistants in, and let's do what we do best, and that's build ourselves up because we've got extra motivation, haven't we? Round one, we've got to smash Teague and let him know what he's missing out on.
Correct. Correct. That is also another bit of breaking news. David Teague has joined the Richmond Footy Club as one of their assistant coaches, which good luck to him. Love Teague. Nothing against Teague. Yeah, I think that's going to come back and bite us.
He's the opposition now, bro. We're at war, bro. We're at war with 17 other clubs.
Do you think, going back to Voss as well, you were mentioning that midfield development too, do you think it's a case of our bookends our bookends are really sorted, aren't they, with regards to forward line and back line? I think maybe the only thing we'd need to add into our forward line, it was the thing that you came up with, Pommy, on the PPI, the tackle pressure inside forward 50. I think that's probably the thing we lack inside forward 50, but it could be a guy like Durden and Josh Honey to apply that. So maybe it is just the midfield that really needs to be sorted, and a guy like Voss can come in and do it.
Yeah, and I think also you're going to see a tackling team as well.
Yeah.
Traditionally, Carlton tackle very well when we sack a coach because everyone wants to be in the team. So, I mean, that's a little bit of an easier thing for you. I do think, though, that let's be honest, and I'll ask the audience and you guys this team, though, if you were a coach and you were coming into it, you've got one of the best key forwards in the competition. You've got one of the best key backs in the competition. You've got one of the best midfielders. You've probably got the best midfielder under 23 in the side. It would be an attractive proposition, wouldn't it?
And Cripps just sitting there.
Pardon?
I said, and Cripps just, in the background.
Yeah, and I think, there is a reason to be excited. And I think once the dust is settled, I'm really confident in Lukey to make the right appointments. I think he's got a bit more money to play with now. He can give Cookie a bit of a war chest. If that's Matty Scarlett, the thought of Scarlett working with Wheater and in Jones is salivating, isn't it? Because Scarlett knew what he was doing down the back. Get a forward line coach who's a bit tenacious, can really help on the chase down tackles. It's not as far away like that stats that we just brought up there. Melbourne this time last year, sacked Goodwin, burned the club, let's fuck off to Tasmania, I'm going skiing in Buller. Honestly, they were like us last year. You've got to remember there was huge rabble, wasn't they? Paul Roos failed, XYZ. They made a few amendments in the back room, and look at them now, probably odds-on favourites to win the flag. Yeah. So it can change around quickly. So I'm feeling confident. I don't know why. Check back in with me round 2 when I quit Blue Abroad again.
I think the issue comes down to as well, if you know the areas that you need to improve on and you actually go out and fix them rather than just going for, and I know I keep saying it, rather than just going for the name or just going for the sake of it, then that's how you solve the problems, Pommy. It's like, we kept mentioning the AFL God print. Make adjustments to those areas and those facets that we lack in.
Yeah, no, mate, I'm 100% with you. I don't think it's that far. I just think I can't drill this home enough. My entire review all year has been structurally and tactically, we are inept. You've only got to watch the football. You've only got to watch the football this year. Teams that have tactically improved have skilled. You saw, if you watched Alistair Clarkson interview, he talked about, do I have to change things or do I stick to my plan? Once your plan works, it works. And I think that's it, backing your systems in. And the problem is we didn't have a system. And what fills me with confidence is Voss, Kingsley, and Big Gia. All 3 of them are known as for their tactical input in team meetings and also their structural skills. So whichever one of the 3 you get out of them, even Don Pike is doing that as well. You are getting a guy that his job day to day is working out the structure, where Teague was just a forward line coach. So I think that's exciting.
Yeah. I'm just getting some news now. I saw it on Twitter. Tony Sheehan has actually gone with it, and he said that we've offered Voss a 4-year deal for $500,000 a year. He's actually posted it on Twitter. Take his word for what you will. I'm not locking it in yet, but it's just coming. I've got the Twitter feed up next to me now. So
there it is.
I thought the pumps were closed for Tony Sheehan to be commenting.
I have no issue with Michael Voss whatsoever. There's another one here as well. We had a $10 donation from Brody Marston, and he's asking us to go back one step. He thinks we need to chase Josh Battle. He's gettable, affordable, and has huge upside. Guys, thoughts?
Haven't really had a deeper look into Josh Battle, but the one from St Kilda that I think we were really harping on about was Luke Dunstan, and I think he'd provide a real hard edge in that midfield as well. I don't know if he's going to be. I think have St Kilda made it known that he won't be getting a contract. I think that's the case. Yeah.
It came out today that he was disappointed with what they told him. So he's got the fire in the belly. I think he polled them. He was up there with their votes. But the question I have with someone like him and George Hewitt is, okay, well, how do you fit Dunstan, George Hewitt, Setterfield, Kennedy? Do you have an understanding between everyone that, you've got to fight for your spot? Does one of them get squeezed out? I mean, we're already talking about someone getting squeezed out with Hewitt coming in. I'm not sure. I'm just mindful. It's just my first reaction.
Yeah, I think it's just getting better on every line, to be honest, really. I think it's just incremental improvement throughout every line on the position or on the field that you have. But I think the one thing that, and I keep making mention of, is that we don't have a lot of midfielders that rotate through the midfield, if that makes sense. So I think that the more we can get in, the better. And I think Hewitt and I think a guy like Hewitt and Dunstan would be an improvement on like a Setterfield or a Gibbons sort of type, if that makes sense. But it doesn't mean that you can't just put SPS Dow in there. I think the more numbers that you rotate through the middle, I think the better. You keep the legs are fresher. You've got more burst as well. You're using up less energy, and you're able to dispose of the ball better. So I think it's a ripple effect as well, and competition spots.
Well, it's raising the standards, isn't it? Like if Dow pushes out Dunstan and Hewitt, he's doing a good job, isn't he? I mean, my question marks with Dunstan is, in the interview, he said he was raring to play with Nick Hind, and that instantly put me off. I was like, big cross on you, my friend. There you are. I'm a tough list manager. There you are. But Josh Battle, to answer the question, Josh Battle, elite kick. He's had his fair share of injuries there, and that would be my only dubious nature of Josh Battle. We've taken a lot of punts recently on players that have got lines of histories who are similar builds. Setterfield, to name a recent one. Williams has been in and out of injured as well. We have horrendous luck even converting someone who's mildly injured into a sick note themselves. So that would be my only worry about Josh Battle. I think 23 talent, got a real good base, but the kid honestly sees grass and shits himself at the moment. And there's a few players on our books that are scared of grass too. So that would be my question with him. I'd probably look for a safer alternative.
Yeah. Well, I've just got some quotes here. This is from Saints TV on Twitter. This is from Luke Dunstan on St Kilda, and it says, I guess the injury didn't help, but at times certain coaches get opinions of players, and once they get opinions, it's pretty hard to change them. I wouldn't say I didn't get along with Brett Ratton, but I think it's pretty clear that he didn't rate me, which is fine. It's hard to change opinions. For me, it's just about being in a happy environment where you feel valued as a player and a person and just feel a part of something would be the biggest thing. I'd love to go to, Essendon. My good friend Nick Hind went there last year. So I think we'll knock that one on the head right there.
Imagine saying you wanted to go and play for a club for a player like Nick Hind. Imagine setting your standards that low. That's like going out on a night and saying, I can't wait to pull a 5. Do you know what I mean? Like, what is going on?
Oh, too good. I don't think there's anything else on the agenda, Pom. Anything else on your mind, mate, before we wrap it up?
No, bring on. Just if Luke Sayers is watching, just announce the coach so I can move on with my life and start plotting our draft and trade period. That's all I want. Yeah. That's legit all I want now. I'm bored of, is it him? Is it her? I mean, give me Daisy Pearce or something. I don't care. Just give me someone now. I just want a new shiny coach that I can come up with a sexy chant for. Lock it away for the round one, and then we focus on the things that matter. The next great white hope at this football club.
Yeah, that's right. No, that's certainly right. So tomorrow morning, guys, the Almost Blues Brothers podcast will be out at 6 a.m. Let me tell you now, their special guest is not to be missed, especially if you are a fan of AFL YouTube. They have got the best in the business. So I'll just leave that there. And then, Paul, talk to us about the jumper punch. You mentioned it at the top of the show.
Yes.
8 p.m. tomorrow we're looking at this stage. What can we expect?
Yeah, Rocco's working feverishly. He'll be working feverishly through the night to get it all put together. Tomorrow night, we've got the big quiz between Rocco and I coming up. So a very competitive quiz and a big show coming up. So we've got our grand final predictions as well, our opinions on Brian Cook, what's happening with the club at a board level, at an executive level, our coach and everything. So massive show coming up. But, got a bit fiery last week between Rocco and I, but I think we've tempered the waters a little bit there, which is I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I think the people liked us getting a bit fiery last week. But I think cooler heads have prevailed, gentlemen.
Yep, absolutely. And Pom, you released a video today about Sam Walsh. What do we have to look out for you on your channel?
We've got all sorts. We've got the Carlton Pom story that gets released later this week. I coached my first game, so you see a bit behind the scenes with Pomazon Prime. They've got behind the scenes footage. But we went through to the future today with Sam Walsh on the Pobby and Oz show. We've tried to predict. We've created an algorithm based on every footballer in the history of the game and how they improve and what Walsh will look like in 2025. It's quite exciting. I can tell you he's pretty good, is Sam Walsh.
He goes all right. He certainly goes all right. And are you doing a grand final watch along? Is that what's happening?
Oh, you know it. I don't know who I'm going to support, but I'm sure I'll upset someone in the live stream.
No, look forward to it.
Who's your tip, Pommy, for the grand final?
Oh, yeah.
My brain is telling my heart is telling me Melbourne, but my brain is telling me that the Doggies.
Oh, okay.
The Doggies, they've been there, they've done it. They let themselves down when they played them last time. I think they'll be out for blood, and I think that Melbourne's first time, bit of pressure. No home crowd. I think that might be a factor. I think the Doggies have just been there and done it, haven't they? So, yeah, that's it. So I've kind of sat on the fence, but not sat on the fence.
Like it.
Yeah. I'm going to go for the D's, and I'm going to go for a Stephen May Norm Smith medal.
There you go. Yeah, I'm D's and Max Corn, I think.
Yeah. Love it. Pom, do we have a Norm Smith medal for you, mate?
Liberatore, I reckon. Liberatore's dealer's going to get the match bonus at the end of that game.
A nice drive-by as we end the show. Oh, dear. All right, ladies and gents, thanks for tuning in to the Blue Broad Show. Paul, Pom, and everybody that came on tonight, thank you. Hope you enjoyed yourselves, and we'll see you throughout the week.
Pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Enjoy.